What is up, guys? How are we doing tonight? I figured I would just hop on. I haven't done a live with you guys today, so I figured I would hop on, talk a little bit. I don't got anything planned. I just figured we could just talk, see what's going on. Oh, look at my guy. Oh, Kyle. We miss you, Kyle. Come back. Please come back. Just figured we would talk about whatever. Let you guys ask some questions. Well, we can talk about the signing that happened today. We talk about Maurice Hurst, former Raiders defensive tackle, coming on over to the Bay. That's two Raider defensive linemen that we have swooped. Good for me. Good for me. Bad for all my Raider buddies. bad for all my Raider buddies. Good for us. Man, I like Mo. We talked about Mo last night when they signed Arden, because that's essentially what I had said. I like Arden. He has good tools. He has some good ability, but I really liked Mo much better as an interior defensive lineman. I was like, I wish that was the guy that we got. It turns out we got both of them. So super excited that we got Mo Hurst. Super underutilized with the Raiders. I don't know what the Raiders, man. The Raiders. I could talk about the Raiders for quite a bit. But glad I'm not a Raider fan. That's all I can say, is just glad I'm not a Raider fan. My team is still in the Bay Area. They're not tweeting out insane things from their Twitter account, and they're not cutting every single player that they've ever drafted in the John Gruden era. So pretty happy to be a Niner fan and not a Raider fan right now. So we on YouTube, we lit. You see it. You know the vibe. It's becoming a normal thing now. We stay on YouTube now. But, we're always on the other side of our players getting poached, right? We're always seeing our players head up north to Seattle, and we're just like, man, never get a break. Even, Crabtree headed over to the Raiders. Jerry Rice headed over to the Raiders. I mean, they get a ton. I think even Garrison Hurst went over to the Raiders. Terrell Brown went over to the Raiders. Man, they just a lot of people love Niner leftovers. A lot of teams love Niner leftovers, including the Raiders, including Seattle. But you know what? We're taking some this time. Give them to us. Give them to us. Bring them to us. What do I prefer, YouTube or Instagram Live? I prefer YouTube. YouTube is super clean. The way I can pull everyone's comments up. I'm on YouTube. I'm interacting with people from Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So YouTube's pretty legit. YouTube's cool. If we like for example, if I wanted to pull up some Maurice Hurst video right now, I could do it, and we could just talk about it, and you could see it. YouTube's pretty legit. I like it. It's a little clear, but whatever floats your boat. If the real ones, so what I've been told is the real ones watch on both. So take that for what you for what you wish. Yes, Carlos Rogers went to the Raiders. Yes, Aldon Smith went to the Raiders. Yeah, excited to get Mo Hurst, man. He's good. He's got that. He's like that DJ Jones style. That quick first step, good burst, and has the power behind it. Good hands. I liked him a lot out of Michigan too. I was bummed when the Raiders got him. He kind of slid in the draft a bit. Thought he could have been a good target even for the Niners during the draft. Yes, it worked out for us. So yeah, we got him. Romanowski went to the Raiders. I forgot about Romanowski. Romanowski is a wild man. He is a wild man. Navarro Bowman went to the Raiders. Oh, how's my night going? Thank you so much for asking, Young Hitter. It's going all right. Just chilling right now. really don't got too much to talk about. So if you guys want to go ahead, ask me some questions, that will help drive this conversation a little better. I just want to chat with you guys, see what you guys are up to. The draft is in 7 days. We are a week away. What time is it? 7:30. So we'll probably still, in a week, the draft will still be going on about this time. It's like, what, 3 hours to get through the first round, 3-4 hours. So a week from now, we'll either be really happy, we'll be sad. Who knows? Who knows what will be happening a week from now? Who knows how we'll be feeling a week from now? Who knows we'll be on this 49er team a week from now? So enjoy this time. Enjoy this time. And just remember all the stressing and everything we've been doing up until this point. Just enjoy it. Enjoy it for now. Because we don't know what's going to happen after that. So hopefully it's what we want. Hopefully. Again, I'm feeling Trey Lance or Justin Fields like I have all this entire time. I've been a big Trey Lance supporter. Of course, my draft crush is Justin Fields. That is no lie. Justin Fields is my draft crush. And yeah, if you were around last year during the draft show that we did, and you got to experience me and watching in live real-time action, not picking CeeDee Lamb, your boy felt like he got punched in the stomach. So I'm ready again. This isn't the first time. Like, this has happened. I was talking about this with Jordan the other night. Like, I'm a big draft guy. Again, my first draft crush ever was Colin Kaepernick. So it was really easy for me to get hooked, because when you like Colin Kaepernick, then Colin Kaepernick gets drafted by your team, and that's your first ever draft crush. It just was like, oh, I love the draft. Like, I'm about the draft now, So that when that happened, it really set me on a trajectory to really loving the draft, loving the process, being able to scout these guys, see what they're capable of, see what they need work on, trying to project them, seeing what teams they land with. I fell in love with it, man. I fell in love with it. So this is just fun to me. I'm super excited. And so there's been plenty of guys that I've wanted and have not gotten. So this won't be the first, won't be the last. Just prepare yourselves mentally, because we don't know what's going to happen. We really don't know what's going to happen. So we'll see. Oh, that's not, what is this? So Carlos saying, people are saying Mac Jones comp is Sam Bradford. I could see it. I wouldn't say they have the same style, but I see a similar trajectory in the NFL. I would say they're a little bit different, but I would say it's similar trajectory. I see them kind of playing, obviously Bradford went through the injuries, and of course I don't wish that on anyone, and want all players to have optimal health. So a lot of the issues with Bradford was his health, but I could see the comp. I could see the trajectory. Genuine feeling, if Lance goes 3, I would understand it. I would get it. It makes sense. I'm one of the people that switched my tune on Trey Lance super early last year during the season, because like I've told you guys a million times, I started scouting quarterbacks last season in year, and I started watching all of them. And but unfortunately, Trey Lance wasn't someone I could watch. Trey Lance wasn't playing. So what I did is I went and I had a perception of Trey. I had I've never watched him before, but I had a perception of him. And the perception that I had was he's kind of a gimmicky, kind of run first quarterback, which again doesn't fit what Kyle wants. He doesn't want gimmicky quarterbacks. He wants guys who can execute play action from the pocket, all those kinds of things. So with Trey Lance, I had a perception, and I found out really quickly that it was very wrong. And the perception that I had of Trey Lance was extremely wrong. And it's funny, someone's talking about Grant Cohn over here on YouTube, and it was actually a Grant Cohn tweet because I think he was, I can't remember, Grant, he's always talking good or he's talking bad about a certain prospect. There's really no in between. And I can't remember what he was saying about Trey, but he did motivate me for whatever he said to go look and watch Trey. And when I went and watched him, I was like, oh, wow. I was pleasantly surprised. I couldn't believe the pro style concepts that Trey Lance was executing at North Dakota State. I couldn't believe it because, again, I'm going into his tape thinking he's a gimmick guy. I'm going into his tape thinking like, because you see the runs and like the highlights and you're like, he's a really good runner. He must be run first kind of guy, whatever. Put on the tape, instantly blew that out of the water. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, Lance is a he's not, I wouldn't say he's as prototypical in the pocket as Fields is, but the way he executes play action, woo, his play action game is legit. So like I'm talking about the whole motion of, turning your back to the defense, handing the ball out, doing the whole thing, coming around, hitch, throw, the timing, Trey Lance out of play action. Woo! And of course, when you associate Kyle Shanahan and his offense, play action. Kyle is a play action god. So with Trey Lance and getting into his tape, and again, I went in with a perception that he was gimmicky. Came out like, he's not gimmicky. In fact, he's better suited to run pro style schemes than Mac Jones damn near. Mac Jones is like the one quarterback, I think, out of the top 5 who's taken the least snaps from under center, which, again, was another perception that I had wrong. I thought at that time that Mac Jones was the guy who's always under center. It turns out he's the guy's least amount under center. So it's just crazy. The narratives, the conversations that come from this stuff. And once you just turn on the tape never lies. If you really want an understanding of a player and what he's capable of, just go turn on the tape. Just watch it for yourself, because you'll be able to smash any of those notions. And with Trey, he proved me wrong quick. He proved me wrong real quick. That was in season. Again, the biggest thing that I've had with Trey is there's not a knock on Trey. Trey's biggest knock is that he has no 2020 tape. And that's not his fault. So is it a knock? Is that a knock on Trey Lance? It's really not. It's just for evaluators, me, I don't have the access that these guys have. I'm not talking to coaches. I'm not, you have to go on the black market if you want all 22 tape, or you got to give someone a back massage if you want them to give you all 22 tape. So it's like you only have what you have. You only have the resources that are available to you. And without having Trey Lance's 2020 tape, it's just really hard not to have it. Then you have a guy like Fields tape. You have Wilson. You have Mac Jones. Again, it's not a knock on him. He's the inaccuracy comes from his feet. that the inaccuracies come from his feet, because sometimes he relies a little bit too much on his just natural athletic ability. I was his quarterback coach and I follow each other. I've been in his DMs for the last couple months because, again, I don't have the information, but if I can find someone who has the info and I can ask them questions, he was a resource. So when I was watching Lance's tape, Lance would show situations where he's rolling outside the pocket and with his feet and the way he was moving, and he would go to throw, and the passes would come out inaccurate or they would die on him, which was interesting because I'm like, I know how strong his arm is. I know he has a very strong arm. So to see balls dive on him or be inaccurate, I was looking at the technique. I was like, it looks like a feet issue. It looks like he's not getting planted. It's all upper body arm throwing. And when you're just trying to huck it, you lose a lot of the power. So I asked him straight up. I said, so this is what I've noticed. I've noticed in these situations, Trey Lance, his accuracy can be off a little bit. I see the balls dive a little bit on him. What's that about? And that's what he said to me. He's like, listen, like he, in certain situations, the technique is really good, but when he got kind of outside the pocket and started running and throwing around, he just kind of it was a situation where he's out there playing ball. It wasn't a situation more so like he's just like, again, he was 19 years old doing this. Those are things that you can develop. That's not an end all be all for any prospect. So he talked about it. He's like, listen, that was just him getting away from doing what he should, relying on his natural ability and just making plays. And sometimes, when you do that, your feet get all messed up. You're not, transferring the power from your lower body through your upper body, which is huge in generating ball velocity. It's coming from your lower half. So he basically said, he's like, Trey Lance has been in here working with us since October. We have stripped down any imperfection in his throwing motions, in his feet, in all of that. And that's all we have drilled for months and have just cleaned it up and just cleaned it up. And I was like, okay. You saw a little bit of that at the pro day. You see some of the situations a little bit cleaner when he's rolling out and doing all those kinds of things. So it seemed like there was some validity to what he had to say. But again, he's such a young prospect. And the original question, I'm just going on and on like I typically do. He asked me, I think it was like natural reaction. If Trey Lance is the pick, yes, we're on YouTube. So if Trey Lance is the pick, of course, my heart is with Fields. Fields is my draft crush. He is the ultimate draft crush for me this season. Again, I told you guys I started crushing on him last year because I have other interests outside of 49ers football. I play a lot of dynasty football. So I want to know who these rookies are. I want to know who they are. So I do a lot of research for multiple different reasons. So if he wasn't going to end up a 49er, he was going to end up on my dynasty team. Let's be real. So with Justin just got the key to my heart. But with Trey, I like Trey a lot. But I didn't get to go through the ups and downs with Trey like I did with Justin. So there's just a different relationship. It doesn't mean I don't like Trey. It's just the lack of tape in 2020 meant that we didn't go through the ups and downs together. Didn't mean I was defending him up and down on the timeline. Didn't mean I was doing any of that stuff. It just was like, oh, okay, he's not a gimmick guy. He's a real quarterback. He's legit, and he's got legitimate talent. So I would not be upset. My heart would be a little disappointed. Of course, if you told me 6 months ago Fields was going to be on the 49ers, I would tell you you're smoking pot. How many pots have you smoking? That's what I would have said. I would have said, how many dang pots have you smoking? There's no way Justin Fields will be a 49er in 2021. Zero chance. But here we are. So with all that being said, I've worked myself up to want to get Fields. But if Lance is the guy, I understand why. I get it. It makes sense. It's not like you can tell me Mac Jones at 3. When you say Mac Jones, I'm just like, come on now. Like, let's use some common sense. Like, that just doesn't seem like the logical thought process here. So I wouldn't be upset. I definitely wouldn't be upset with Lance. Like, if it comes across number 3, the San Francisco 49ers select Trey Lance, we're still celebrating. We are still hyped. We are still hyped if Trey Lance is the pick, because again, there is so much to like about Trey. He's 20 years old. He already knows how to operate pro schemes. Another thing his coach told me, which I saw another coach come out and say today, but what he told me way back then was Trey Lance, they put a lot on Trey Lance's plate. They put a lot. Pre-snap, post-snap, even the protections, like a lot of people don't understand protections well, but the offensive line is always sliding to the right. I'm backwards on camera. Sliding to the right or to the left. And that is indicated based on the mic, where he's aligned and where you feel the pressure is coming from the defense. It's very rare that the offensive line doesn't slide a certain way, because when you slide a certain way, it allows the offensive line to work together, work in tandem, and do all those kinds of things. Typically, the center handles those positions or handles those protections. Typically, the center is the one calling out the mic, telling the offensive line which way to slide. That then indicates to the running back, if he's staying in protection, what he needs to do. If he's going middle to right or middle to left, that tells him what he needs to do. But in Trey Lance's situation, Trey Lance did that. So that was like another thing they put on Trey Lance's plate. Not only it sounded like they would have multiple options at the line of scrimmage for the play that was to be called, whether it was run, switch to pass, switch to run, and or RPOs. So Lance did a lot, man, for his age and what he's capable of. So if that's the pick, after all this hype, I'm happy. I'm okay. I'm celebrating. We're having a good time. We're popping champagne. We're popping bottles. We're doing all of it because Trey Lance is a good quarterback and has great potential. So that's what we're doing. It's just the Mac Jones thing. It's the Mac Jones thing. If the card comes through and it's Mac Jones, you might see me have a heart attack. We're not going to put that out into the universe because we don't want that to happen. But if it does happen, I don't know if I can be too excited about it. Woo! Yikes. Please don't do that to me, 49ers. Please, you guys have killed this offseason. This is the best offseason I've ever seen from this front office. Please don't mess it up. Please don't do it. Please don't. Just please don't. Yeah, so that was my answer to shave the beard. You're tripping. The beard is damn near famous. I'm not shaving this beard. Mac is better than Burrow. Ugh. I don't like that one. I don't like that one as much. Burrow's in a completely different area code than Mac. And again, I was the guy when we were sitting at 12 that was like, hey guys, Mac Jones makes a lot of sense. That was me because, I'm able to objectively look at situations, whether I like it or not. I was like, hey, guys, at 12, Mac Jones makes sense. He fits what we do. I don't I don't see him necessarily elevating what we do, but he fits what we do, and it makes a lot of sense. He's more mobile than people give him credit for. And when I say mobile, he's not mobile, but he knows how to move within the pocket really well, actually, really well. He knows how to avoid pressure. He knows how to stand in there, take hits. He knows how to find his passing lanes. He knows how to work pre-post snap. He's accurate. He throws with great anticipation. He's worthy of being a first-round pick. I will not slander Mac Jones like that. Mac Jones is worthy of being a first-round pick. He's not worthy of 2 future firsts, 3-12 swap, and a compensatory third at number 3. No, he's not worth that. No, absolutely not. He said, keep hyping up my boy Mac Jones. Like I said, hey, chill, bro. I can talk about Mac Jones, and I can talk about him in a positive light because he does show really positive things on tape. The hard thing to evaluate with Mac Jones is what happens to Mac Jones when he doesn't have everything at his disposal. What does Mac Jones do when he doesn't have his offensive line? When he doesn't have 4 first-round wide receivers? When he doesn't have one of the best offensive lines in college? When he doesn't have a prototypical running back behind him? Jeff Garcia talked about that. That's the question I asked him because I wanted to know. I had an idea, but of course, I have a former 4-time Pro Bowler sitting in front of me who played quarterback at a high level for the 49ers. I asked him, I was like, is that something that you should be looking like? Is that something that should be taken a part of the evaluation? And he's like, yeah, because defense is key on offense is much differently when you have that much firepower. It's hard to just bring 8 in the box and stack the box against a run when you have 3 to 4 wide receivers that are going in the first round. That makes it very difficult. So again, the defenses that Mac Jones are seeing are much different than a situation if he went to a team that had no wide receivers. They would just stack the box on his ass. They just stack the box on his ass on the run game, force him to throw it, and then see what Mac Jones is. That's the problem, is we've never seen that from Mac. With Justin Fields, I've seen him play with a center who couldn't snap the ball, no offensive line, no head coach, no wide receivers, and essentially have to do it all himself. I've seen that. So that makes it easier for me to evaluate him and ring him up a notch. Just with Mac Jones, it's one of those things. It's like, never seen you under real adversity, which is huge in my evaluation. I want to see how people handle the stuff when it starts breaking down, honestly. What are my wide receiver draft crushes? I like that question. I got a lot of them, actually. Let's see. It's easier when I have my list in front of me. So I really liked Kadarius Toney headed into this year. I really thought he was going to be a guy that was going to be super high on my list all the way throughout. He actually fell off for me. Le'Veon Bell has set a precedent for me to be scared of any player who openly talks about being a rapper. Again, I have no problem with what your interests are outside of football, what your hobbies are, what you like to do. I don't care about that. You could do whatever you want offside the football field, as long as when you step on the field, it's football all the time, right? So with Kadarius Toney, when I was in Mobile watching him at the Senior Bowl, he had went on Daniel Jeremiah's podcast, and they asked him, because he's a rapper, And they asked him like straight up, like, so we see like you have like you like got a little rap career going. Like, you know, what are your thoughts on that? Are you going to keep doing that, or are you going to focus 100% on football? They set it up like it was a lob question for him to say football is my number one focus. It was like a lob, like straight up, like, here, say football is my number one focus. And he was like, I mean, if my rap stuff takes off and I get big off the rap stuff, then like I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that. And I'm just like, that's not what we want to hear. Like, read the room. Like, even if it wasn't true, like, and he was like, if I was a rapper and I blew up and I'd become a rapper, like, even if he didn't say, like, I don't know. It did not sit well with me. And doesn't mean you can't. Look at Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard out here dropping bars, dropping dimes. But Damian Lillard was proven first. He proved he was the best in the NBA before he started really stepping out there, doing the rap stuff. And then it became fun. Then it was like, all right, cool. Damian Lillard is dope at basketball and he's got bars. Like, perfect. Like, that's legit. It's difficult when you're heading into the biggest job opportunity of your life and you're like, well, if rap takes off, then cool. You're like, dude, don't say that. I hope you're not saying that to GMs. I mean, you're saying it on a freaking podcast where all the GMs are listening, but okay, go off, King. So it is what it is. Le'Veon Bell scares me. But back to the original question, draft crushes at wide receiver. I like Devontae Smith. I'm a big Devontae Smith guy. I was the guy last season, or was it last season? Last draft season when it was like, you know, Judy and Ruggs and CD and Jefferson and Rager and Mims, like Pittman, all those receivers were coming out, and it was who's the number one wide receiver? I was like, you know, I wasn't too high on Judy, wasn't too high on Ruggs, but I was like, Devontae Smith is the best wide receiver on the Alabama team. So, like, that was part of my evaluation of why I put CeeDee Lamb over Jerry Jeudy, was because I was like, Jerry Jeudy is not even the best wide receiver on his own team. Like, so how could he be the best wide receiver in the draft? He's not even the best wide receiver on his own team. That's Devontae Smith. So I don't mind Devontae Smith. Someone said it right there. So Devontae Smith, 166. You can either play or you can't. I really don't care. They came after Keenan Allen for similar things. I said Keenan Allen. I was so like, because obviously I'm a Cal fan. I don't know if any of my Cal swag is showing up. If you're on YouTube, you see the Cal swag. With Keenan Allen and his draft evaluation, I was a Cal fan. So I watched Keenan Allen from his first snap ever at Cal, being a former 5-star that he should have went to Alabama. He had an offer to Alabama for whatever reason. I know why he chose Cal. He chose Cal to come play with his half brother, Zach Maynard, who was terrible at quarterback. Terrible. Awful. Like, not accurate at all. So Keenan Allen didn't have like a legitimate quarterback the entire time he was at Cal. And on top of that, he didn't test well. I think he ran a 4.71 40. So people dogged him. They dogged Keenan Allen. And I was like, you guys are tripping. I said Keenan Allen should be a top 10 pick. I said Keenan Allen. I banged the table for Keenan Allen. Said Keenan Allen should be a top 10 pick. You guys are sleeping on the wrong one. Guess what? If they would have redrafted that draft, guess where Keenan Allen would have went? Top 10. Boom. So I don't buy I don't buy the measurables. I don't. I really don't. Even back when I was playing, guys were like, man, I'm too small. I'm like, no, you're not. You can ball. See how big that guy is? See how small you are? See how you just destroyed him? It doesn't matter. You can either play or you can't. You can either play or you can't. There's no in between. When you're playing football, you can either play or you can't. There's no in between. I've seen the strongest, biggest, fastest dudes look like ballerinas out on the playing field. Nothing against ballerinas. Ballerinas are technical. They're technically savvy. Nothing against ballerinas. But that's the thing. That's why I don't care. I don't care about the size. Like, it plays a role in the evaluation. It's not the end all be all. That's why you watch tape. That's why you figure out, can this guy play? No, he can. Absolutely. He can play. So Devontae Smith, the size doesn't bother me at all. At all. Not even in the slightest. He should be the first wide receiver off the board. He's not going to be. It's going to be Jamar Chase, and I understand why it's going to be Jamar Chase. But I don't buy that hype. And just because Jalen Waddle's fast doesn't, to me, mean he's like, I get it. He's electric. He's a good, extremely good route runner, and he looks really fast and shifty and all that kind of stuff. So did John Ross. So did Ruggs. So did every shifty wide receiver who came before him. Give me route runners. Give me guys who can catch. Give me guys who are gritty. Give me 50-50 ball guys. I want those guys. That's who I want. I'll always build my team around those types of guys. Same example. DeAndre Hopkins, Sammy Watkins played at the same school at Clemson. I'm a Clemson guy. Like, I know I'm a Cal fan, but I like Clemson. I like Clemson. I like what they produce. I like the talent that they produce. So when they were both at the same school, it was DeAndre Hopkins, Sammy Watkins. Every analyst, every fan, every whatever who had two eyes would say Sammy Watkins was going to be the next great wide receiver, the next guy in the NFL. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, he's good. Do you see DeAndre? Like, do you guys not see DeAndre Hopkins? Oh, DeAndre Hopkins didn't run a fast 40. Got it. That's why. He didn't run a fast 40. Look at DeAndre Hopkins and look at Sammy Watkins. Like, come on. What are we talking? What are we talking here? So, again, I'm supposed to be telling you about draft crushes, but I'm just going on tangents now. That's what you get when I have no actual, like, structured thought process in what we're talking about. So I'm not a big Jalen Waddle guy. Not saying that he won't be successful. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just not a big Jalen Waddle guy. Definitely Devontae Smith. Jamar Chase is cool. I like him. He's good. Everyone's sleeping on Rashad Bateman. No one's talking about Rashad Bateman. I think Rashad Bateman has the potential to be the best wide receiver out of this class. My guy Jason said it the best. That really kind of made it make a lot of sense. He's like, we were doing a pod and he said Jason Bateman could be this year's Justin Jefferson. And I was like, I wish I thought of that. I was like, that's a chef's kiss. I was like, that was beautiful. Couldn't have said it any better. So Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota, he's a guy that I really like. He gets comped to Keenan Allen. That's not his comp, not even close. Keenan Allen does not have the speed that Rashad Bateman has. They like to say because Rashad Bateman is a good route runner that he's like Keenan Allen. But let's be honest, Rashad Bateman has speed plus routes, and he runs his routes differently. And he kind of runs his routes like Brandon Ayuk, because Brandon Ayuk knows how to use his speed in a very specific way. And I think Rashad Bateman uses his speed in his route runnings in a similar fashion. I wouldn't say that that's his comp, but when I watch the route running, kind of what I see. Rondale Moore. I like Rondale Moore. I like his toughness. I really, really like his toughness. I think he is, again, another a size debate guy. I think he's 5'7". Again, I don't care if you're 5'7". You can either play football or you can't. You can either play football or you can't. How tall was Muggsy Bogues playing in the NBA? Like 5'6", 5'5". He balled. All-star. You can either play or you can't. And Rondale Moore can play. He's a baller. He's a dog. Ryan said Nico Collins. Love Nico Collins. Nico Collins, super underrated. He looked good at the Senior Bowl. Got to see Nico up close and personal. That's where I really, he caught my eye was at the Senior Bowl. And he had great size, but underrated athletic ability. Because he's so large, it doesn't look like he's moving fast, especially in his routes. It's just he's such a long strider. It just doesn't look like he's moving too fast, but he really is. And then when you throw it to him, he goes and gets it. Nico Collins is legit. I like Nico Collins. Juwan Jennings vibes. Another guy that I really like a lot is Amon-Ra St. Brown, USC wide receiver. I think he's dope. I love his versatility. Amon-Ra, dude, he can take the top off of a defense and then come through the middle and lower his shoulder and knock you and then juke you and then beat you to the end zone with pure speed. Great hands, baller. His brother, Inquinius St. Brown, wide receiver for Green Bay Packers. His brother's got like 6 inches on him. So Amon-Ra has always been the younger brother, the short guy. So he's always had to play up to his brother. So he's gritty. He's got that fight. He's got that dog. Size ain't going to intimidate him. It doesn't matter. He's coming. I like Amon-Ra a lot. Elijah Moore, I think, is going to be special. He's someone I was late on to. Jordan put me on. And when I watched him, he's special. Again, another size guy. I think he's 5'9". But he's another guy that's special regardless of his size. I think he has the ability to play outside and slot, even at his size. I think his size, he knows how to use it to his benefit. He knows how to run routes. He's got the speed. He's got the agility. It took one play for me. I think it was against Alabama. He was running like a deep in, and his quarterback threw it low and behind him. And he somehow not only caught the ball behind him low and away, somehow reached back and caught it, but then instantly turned back and went doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and just, I was like, holy hell. It's like, oh, okay. Now we're talking. So Elijah Moore is, if he's there at 43, I'd consider it. There's so many good wide receivers in this class. Dwayne Eskridge is another guy that I really like. Kind of that smaller role, smaller wide receiver, stuff like that. Tylan Wallace, smooth. Kind of reminds me of Terrace Marshall. I don't really talk about Terrace Marshall yet. They kind of remind me a little bit of each other. I think Terrace Marshall has more upside, but I think the smoothness to their game, they remind me of one another. Amari Rodgers is a dog. Tutu Atwell, speed, another small but speedy guy. Jalen Darden, another speed guy, but tons of production. I mean, the list goes on and on. Cade Johnson, Marquez Stevenson, Daz Newsome, Des Fitzpatrick out of Louisville, another kind of under the radar, really smooth guy. I like Trevon Grimes. I still like Trevon Grimes. What Trevon Grimes proved to me at the Senior Bowl is, yeah, he's probably not going to be a great separator in regards to running routes, getting separation, and what have you. But if you have an accurate passer and you know how to throw these types of wide receivers open, he could be a massive, massive asset because he is a jump ball god. I'm serious. Like, that's all he did at the Senior Bowl. Wasn't pretty. Like, again, he showed me, like, all right, there might be some real issues with the speed. Route running isn't the best. But again, they gave him a chance. He came down with it every single time. Jonathan Adams Jr., wide receiver, you should check out if you don't know about him. He's out of Arkansas State. Big guy, another big-bodied wide receiver, but show some nice stuff. Of course, we all know Shi Smith. I mean, there's guys all over the place. Sage Surratt, Demetric Felton. Damn, they got Demetric Felton super low. Demetric Felton, I saw someone talking about Demetric Felton. There's a Demetric Felton shout out. I like Demetric Felton a lot because of what he can offer in multiple roles. He could play wide receiver. He could play running back. He could do so many different things. I really would love to see him with Kyle Shanahan. I really would. He's fun. He's a fun guy to watch. Tamarion Terry, I actually haven't watched him yet. From what I know, he's a bigger guy, right? I think he's like 6'4". Trey Walker, San Jose State, don't sleep on him. I've been saying that for a while. I think he's going to get slept on. I don't know, maybe 6th-round pick. He's only he's 5'11", 180. Not one of these physically imposing guys, but he's a baller, dude. He's a baller. So it'd be super fun to see Trey Walker stay home, come over to the Bay. I like him a lot. He's a playmaker. Yeah, so there's a lot of wide receivers. Kyle Shanahan, the most underrated coach? I think he's rated. I don't know. Within the fan base, he's not underrated. Within our fan base, everyone loves, it's hard not to like Kyle Shanahan. It really is. Let's see. What do we want to talk about? Man, it's already been 48 minutes. Sheesh. Feel like Ian Book could thrive in Kyle Shanahan's scheme? As someone who watched him live, he's really small. Like, he's really tiny. I don't think people realize how small he is. He's really small. And he did not throw very much at the Senior Bowl. He did a lot of running. A lot of bringing that thing down and running. So, it's okay. It's okay. What do I know about Jordan Smith, UAB? I believe he's the D-end, right? He's definitely a guy that has some length, if I'm thinking of the right person. Clearly, I haven't done a ton of study on him. Yep, Jordan Smith, edge. 6'6", 255. Oh, interesting. He's one of 9 players suspended in 2017 due to his role in an alleged credit card fraud scheme. He attended JUCO. Interesting. But he did put up 12.5 sacks over 21 games, forced 3 fumbles. I believe he was at the Senior Bowl as well, but honestly, I just don't remember him balling out too much. I haven't done a ton of study on him, to be honest. Oh, there's a throwback. Look at Alyssa. This is how you know Alyssa's OG. She said, "Do you still have a crush on Shaka Toney?" I do, but it's tempered a little bit. He had a really strong junior year. Senior year, it's just a tough situation with that defense. He didn't put up a ton of production. Honestly, expected a little bit more out of him from the Senior Bowl. So I hyped him up going into the Senior Bowl. He didn't necessarily perform how I was hoping for him to perform, but I still would be more than happy to get him on the squad. I think he's got the talent. I really do. I think he's got the talent to be a good defensive end in the NFL. If you can get him in like the 5th, 6th round, hell yeah. Come on, Shaka. Let's go, Shaka. What about Afitu? Do I still love him? I do still love Afitu. I do. Hopefully we can reunite him with his brother and they could come through. He would be perfect for if we were running, our zone shell concepts and things like that. Will be interesting to see. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. He shows a lot of promise. He seems like a guy that I'm more of doing a projection for. I'm projecting him to be a lot better in the NFL. So I really like his attributes. I really like what he can do, his movement skills, his hips with cornerbacks or something that need to be on point. He has good hips for the size that he is. Thoughts on Randunes out of NDSU. So actually, because of how the Senior Bowl was set up, I found myself running all over the place. And depending on, because obviously there's 2 practices per day. So I would, like, if the morning practice, I'm going to watch offensive line during one-on-ones. And then the afternoon practice, I would watch wide receivers, DBs, one-on-ones. So I'd have to like hop around and do all kinds of different things. And I actually didn't get to watch a ton of Randunes in practice because of apparently just how I was set up. But I watched him in the game very closely. And if you were on live, I was doing a live from Instagram. And I was sitting in the stands. And we were talking. It was like it was the 3rd play of the game. And I was like, all right, there's Randunes, left tackle. I'm going to focus on him. I want to see what he does. He's going up against Quincy Roche, the defensive end out of Miami, who has done well for his rising his stock and is a potential sleeper at D end. And so we were doing the live, and I was like, all right, so here's Dylan Randunes against a good defensive end. Let's see what happens. And then he does his kick step and plants Quincy straight into the dirt and pancaked him on a pass set and just owned him. And I was like, oh, okay. It was a perfect setup. It was just perfect setup. It was like, all right, let's see what Randunes does. And then he just bodies Quincy. So I like him a lot. I like him too. I think he's going to be a good tackle. He's probably a guy who could sneak into the 1st round. See, that's the thing with a lot of these mocks. Always happens with mocks. All the skill position guys are always going to go in the mocks. But when it comes to the actual draft, these GMs value offensive linemen much more than the media. So I can see a lot of these guys that we consider fringe 2nd round guys, they're all going to the 1st, which means there could be some legitimate skill players that fall to the 49ers at 43. So I'm super, super excited about that. Dalen Hayes was another guy that I saw at the Senior Bowl. Again, one of the things that I really liked about Dalen Hayes at the Senior Bowl was one specific one-on-ones session. He was doing well, and he was going up against Hudson, the tackle from Cincinnati, another good tackle entering this class. and they blew the horn to signify go to your next individual drill or whatever drill. And he was up next, and he was like, hey, he's telling the coach, like, hey, let me get one more. He's like, and the coach was like, nah, we're going to the next drill. And then he was like, he grabbed Hudson, and he's like, let's do it. And so the entire D line, O line are walking to their next drill, and Dalen Hayes grabs Hudson, goes over, and they're like, all right, let's do this again. And they did the rep, and I was like, see, that kind of stuff. I love that stuff. Because that to me, again, I always say integrity is one of the hardest things to scout. And then when I'm saying integrity, how you work, how you handle situations, and seeing a guy be like, what the hell? Like, I want my rep. Give me my rep. Grabbing the guy. Everyone leaves. He's by himself. No one is watching except me. And I see him go and do that. I'm like, see, I like that. I like that stuff. That to me tells me that this guy is ready for this moment. He's hungry. That those little moments mean so much to me in regards to evaluation, because I evaluate body language. I think body language is a huge indicator to a person's personality, at least on the football field. So Dalen Hayes, yeah, I like him. He could be a good late round steal. Kendrick Green. This is where the Kendrick Green hive started. Right here. See all the Kendrick Green noise and buzz and being mocked everywhere? That started here. Even Brandon Thorne, scout for Bleacher Report Gridiron. He is the main source for all offensive line content on Twitter, and has been for years. I DM'd him. I was like, hey, have you checked out Kendrick Green yet? And he's like, actually, no, I have not. I have not looked at him yet. I'll take a look at him. So even he wasn't talking about him. Kendrick Green hive started here. This is where it started. Oh, man, I feel sorry for you. Big Dorial Green Beckham fan. He was a guy called a bust instantly. Like I've told you guys, I pride myself on my bust radar. Dorial Green Beckham was a guy I said, no, he's trash. I did not like Dorial Green Beckham. He was on my poop list. Let's see. Tevin Jenkins. Love Tevin Jenkins. Tevin Jenkins is going to be a beast. Super violent, super strong. The punch, if you can find the clip of what he did to Jeremiah Osai, if you guys have seen The Blind Side, when the Michael Orr blocks the guy like 50 yards downfield and then throws him over the fence. That's kind of what Tevin Jenkins did to a potential second round defensive end. Just drove him 15 yards downfield into his team's sideline and just planted him. Tevin Jenkins is dope. So he's one of my top rated tackles or guard, whatever you want to pick him. And so Darisaw is as well. Darisaw reminds me of Trent Williams. Darisaw has more of a finesse guy. He's got really good footwork. He moves really well for his size. He doesn't have the same punch that Jenkins has, doesn't have the same power that Jenkins has, but his speed allows him to be so good in pass protection and allows him to be good in the run game because he's quick. Like, I won't front and act like I was the most powerful offensive lineman, because I wasn't. I was playing O-line at 250 pounds. The reason why I was able to do what I did was because of pure speed and first step quickness and all those kinds of things. So Darisaw has a lot of that. He's got more power than I do, for sure. But comparing him to Jenkins is the power. A lot of power. Bust radar, Gregory Rousseau. Gregory Rousseau is absolutely on my bust radar. Absolutely on my bus radar. Didn't take me long either. Really didn't take me long either. I put on the tape and I was like, oh God. I was like, he's not even a defensive end. I was like, that guy doesn't even look like a defensive end. They're calling him an edge. I was like, that looks like a future Eric Armstead. Like, he might be an edge on base downs, but that looks like a guy who's going to do his work over the guard. Like, that's where he should live. He should live on the interior. He did, like, I was like, oh. It's like, no, thank you. So if someone drafts him to be an edge rusher, I think unless he lands in a great situation and, of course, is developed and comes on, you can't say for sure. He's got the crazy measurables, and he had the high production season, but you look at him and you're like, oh, wow, he's raw. Like, the technique, I'm big on technique. Huge stickler for technique. And he doesn't have much of it. You can tell he relies on his size. You can tell he's been shifted all over the place because of how athletically gifted he is, which doesn't lend itself to sticking in one particular position for a long time. So I think he has a I feel like you could see him as a poor man's Eric Armstead, and it took Eric, 4 years to come on. So being a poor man's Eric Armstead, yay. I'm not taking a first round pick on him at all. No thanks. Thoughts on Divine Diablo? Divine Diablo, I took in my first mock draft. I am not going to lie to you. The only reason I clicked on his name was because of his name. I saw Divine Diablo, and I think I was picking in like the 5th or 6th round. And so, like, I'll tell you how I do some of my mock drafts, especially early on in the season, is I do the mocks. It lands me where I need to pick, and then I look through the available players, and I start picking them and watching their tape. And so I probably watch, like, probably 6 to 8 players within that range of where I'm picking. So I can, when it's the first mock draft, you're like, there's no way I'm getting through all these prospects. So I see where I'm picking. I see the positional need that would fit in some of these players, and I clicked on Divine Diablo only because of his name. And when I watched the tape, I was like, hell yeah, he's got the hype that matches the name. He's really good. I like him a lot. I think he projects the best to be like a Sam or weak side linebacker in the NFL, because you guys know the NFL is transitioning to more of a hybrid nickel, almost as the base situation, because teams are running more 11 personnel than they ever have and doing things like that where they're spreading the ball out and passing more. So you need these outside linebackers who can go sideline to sideline, also cover dudes in the slot, and cover tight ends. So Divine Diablo is a safety. He played really well as a safety at Virginia Tech, but when we were at the Senior Bowl, I got to watch him at the Senior Bowl. They had him playing linebacker, and he excelled playing linebacker. So he's a guy that I would love. He was a guy that would fit, and we have some insight on our squad. So I think the D-line coach at Virginia Tech last year is now our assistant D-line coach for the 49ers, which I love because I love so many Virginia Tech guys. Darisaw is awesome. A big fan of Khalil Herbert, running back. For Virginia Tech, of course, Divine Diablo, Caleb Farley. There's just a lot of guys that I really liked on Virginia Tech this year. So we have a guy in the building who has insight to these guys. I'm just saying. We have a guy in the building who has some insight to these Virginia Tech players. So with that being said, who knows? Maybe he comes in, you see Caleb Farley falling a little bit, and this guy's like, guys, don't let this guy fall. I know everything about him. I know what kind of player he is, blah, blah, blah. Let's go get him. So that's what I'm hoping for. Maybe some insight. Sometimes all you need is insight. That's it. So we'll see. Let's see. Good questions though. You guys are asking me. I like the just kind of random. Oh, my guy Steve Hutchinson just said it. Daryl Tapp. Didn't even see it. Ooh. Dank Burrito wants to know if Jalen Phillips is too high at 12 for the Eagles. No. So, but again, I have to put a caveat in that, because if I'm in an NFL building, I have the resources, I have the information, and I am talking to my medical staff, whoever's worked with him from the medical side of things, and they're like, good, no issues with Jalen Phillips. I'm taking him at 12, easy. I would even consider taking Jalen Phillips in the top 10 if there was no medical concerns, because he is that's why I call him a prototype. I look at him like, you're a prototype. You're a prototypical defensive end. It's like if Nick Bosa and Brian Burns had a love child, and that love child happened to be Jalen Phillips. That's who the love child is. So with Bosa, you get the 3-down ability of having a legitimate defensive end who can stick his hand in the dirt, can be stout against the run, but then is also a technician when it comes to pass rushing. So with Jalen Phillips, I love Jalen Phillips. I think the skill set that he brings is so legit. Again, it's just he has some questions surrounding some of the medical stuff, but if a team feels comfortable with that, the talent is there. So if I don't think it's too high for 12, but again, like I said, you have to be okay with the medical. Just like the 49ers have to be okay with Justin Fields' medical if that's the way they want to go. Just got to be okay with it. What do I think about Joseph Osai? I was expecting a little more out of Joseph Osai. I won't lie. When I went into his tape, there's a little bit of hype surrounding him. So again, I don't like going into tape with hearing other people's opinions, because I don't want my opinion influenced by anyone else. So I took it for what it was. I was like, all right, let's see what if Joseph Osai is any good. And he's okay. I think he's serviceable. He's not, it doesn't look like anyone that's going to be a world beater, but looks like he's going to be really serviceable. He kind of reminded me of who was the guy that I was saying? Carlos Dunlap. Do you guys remember Carlos Dunlap? I think they even came out of the same school. He kind of reminds me of Carlos Dunlap. And Carlos Dunlap had a great career. Really solid career. I wouldn't say that I would expect that production out of Osai, because Dunlap had some good years in Cincinnati. But it kind of reminds me of the similar size, build, kind of not crazy speed, good speed. Not crazy strong, good strength. Not crazy moves, good moves. Like I said, Tevin Jenkins not blocked this dude into a different area code. So I would say he's okay. He's okay, in my opinion. Who's the best defensive end in the draft? Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips is the best overall defensive end. Azeez Ojulari is the best pure pass rusher. So this is exactly how I did it with Bosa and Burns. So when Bosa was coming out, Bosa was the best defensive end in the class, but Brian Burns was the best pass rusher in the class. And I still think that is true. And Bosa is a good pass rusher. Bosa's fantastic pass rusher. Bosa's a technician. His hands, his smarts to set up guys, elite. And that's, I think, a benefit of having an all-pro as a brother and a former father who played in the NFL as well. But when I say more pure, I'm talking about just athleticism. Just pure athleticism to bend the corner. Azeez Ojulari, his hand fighting. I said this on Twitter. Said he has the best hands that I've ever seen out of any prospect I've scouted. And I think Vish was like, "Well, what about the Bosa brothers?" And I was like, I get it. The Bosa brothers are the most technically gifted pass rushers I've ever seen enter the draft. I mean, from a technical standpoint, these dudes are brain surgeons when it comes to setting up moves and doing all that kind of stuff. Plus, they have the strength behind it. With Azeez, the way he rips and the way he swipes, and it's just like the timing. He's so good. He's so good. I like every time an O-line would go out to punch, he's just like, yeah, get out of here. I was just like, woo, I like it. And then he's got the speed behind it. So if an offensive lineman, if I can't grab you, can't get my mitts on you, and you're just hitting my hands down, and then you bring speed behind it, makes it really difficult. Who's better, Bosa or Young? Absolutely Bosa is better. I'm not sure I've ever seen a player like Bosa take over the way he did. I would even say Brian Burns is better than Young as well. So I'll also say that. Brian Burns is better than Young right now. Bosa obviously sucks that we didn't get a year out of him last year, of course, due to the injury. But based on last year, Brian Burns was better than Young. He produced more. He's just better. No one gives Brian Burns that man needs his respect. Give him his respect. My guy with no name says Burns isn't better than Young in his opinion. And that's fine. We don't have to have the same. We're pulling up PFF grades now. PFF grades when it comes to the interior are highly skeptical. But yeah, no, I'm sorry. Burns is better than Young at this point. He's so much further along as a pass rusher. He just is. But it's fine. I mean, not many people watch Burns. Not many people know about Burns. I think they're going to know about him this year. So this is how confident I am about Burns. I have Brian Burns as my defensive player of the year next year. That's how confident I am about Burns. So we can keep going on that discussion, but you can see I'm very confident about Brian Burns. Phillips, I'm a fan of the team, but the fan base would be full. Yeah, I feel that. It's one of those things, it's hard pill to swallow sometimes. Adrian asked, how do you like our D-line? I'm loving our D-line right now. Burns is a better pass rusher. Young is better at everything else. Okay. I will give you, I can entertain that. I don't think there's too many people right now touching Brian Burns as a pass rusher, which in my opinion is huge indication of being a successful edge. Of course, you have to do other things in the run game of that nature. Yes, I get it. But when it comes to pass rushing, that is my number one trait out of an edge. And by far, I can find base down, run blocking defensive ends. I need my DNs to go get the passer. That's what I need. Bosa can do both. Young can do both. But Burns as a pass rusher, it's just on a different level. So yes, we've come to an agreement. I think we can say that Burns is the better pass rusher. Young is probably a better run defender at the moment. It's fine with me. I can live with that. We can come to a civil discourse on that. We can do that. Niners D-line has so much depth. Oh, dude, and imagine if we get some kind of production out of D Ford, that would be fun. we get some kind of production out of D Ford, huge. Samson Ebukam, woo! I think they're gonna leash that dude. I'm hyped for him. I think they're gonna unleash that beast. I really think they are. I like him a lot. Super happy that we picked him up. No idea he's a free agent. I like Hurst. I do. He's kind of got that DJ Jones vibe. He's a DJ Jones vibe. Good first step. Good initial quickness. How do I think Kinlaw will do year 2? I'm so excited for Kinlaw. There's been a couple 49ers players that I've talked to and interviewed, and they're really excited about Kinlaw and his development, and they really think he's going to take the next step this year. They got me super hyped on him. They're like, if you didn't see it last year, which they're like, you should have, but if you didn't, you're going to see it this year. So with Javon Kinlaw, super excited, especially if you can give me Bosa, a healthy Bosa next to him, and give me solid production from the nose tackle, whether that's Kinlaw himself or Eric Armstead or whatever. I don't care where Kinlaw plays. Kinlaw's going to play 1 tech, 3 tech, 0 tech. Doesn't matter. I don't care. But if you give him some edge, give him some edge help. Because we want the offensive line, opposing offensive lines. This is what we want. This is how we draw it up. All right. We want opposing offensive lines to be putting all of their emphasis on Bosa. Because if we can do that, get one-on-one matchups with Samson Ebukam, get one-on-one matchups with Eric Armstead, one-on-one matchups with Javon Kinlaw, oh, hell yeah. Now we're talking. Then eventually they're going to be like, oh, we got a double Kinlaw, or we got a double Eric, or Samson's becoming kind of a problem. Then that's when your D-line becomes optimal. When the offensive line doesn't know who to focus on, that's kind of what the issue was when we had Bosa and D Ford. Who do they focus on? Who's it going to be? They started focusing on D Ford because of his speed and his first step quickness. Well, there was Bosa. So it just became, our D-line was a nightmare in 2019. And it was a huge reason for our success. Huge reason for our success. So I'm excited. I just want Bosa to get back healthy. I would love to see another edge player added. I think that would be legit to see that. A guy that I haven't talked about yet is Joe Tyrone out of Washington. If you haven't watched him yet, go watch him. He didn't play in 2020. He happened to have his pro day the same day that Justin Fields and Mac Jones had his pro day. So his pro day didn't get much hype. Go watch Joe Tyrone, edge out of Washington. If he's available in the second round, wow. That would be a steal. He is got the length, the speed, the moves, the counters, the rips, he's got it all. But you might get him at a value because he didn't play in 2020 and he played in the Pac-12. And there might be some East Coast bias. You never know. So if he could fall, he's nice. Aziz, love Aziz. We have good depth. You would add cornerback, offensive line. Same. Oh, Elliott is from Seattle. He knows about Joe Tyrone. We got a Marlin Williams in the 6th. Love Marlin Williams, man. I forgot to mention him on my draft crush. I love him. So Marlin Williams, UCF wide receiver. If you want to have some fun and watch his highlight, it's worth a watch. Marlin Williams, to me, reminds me of Draymond Green. If Draymond Green played wide receiver. You know, Draymond Green is the most athletic. He's not the biggest, but he's the meanest, and he's got the most heart, and that's how Marlon Williams played. I like him a lot. He is tough. Good luck bringing Marlon Williams down with the first tackle. Good luck. Do I like Ronnie Perkins, Oklahoma? I do. He, to me, is more of I could see him playing more of a hybrid edge outside linebacker role. He's not a guy that you're going to kick down to the 3 tech in those types of situations. He's either going to be a speed rushing edge, or I could see him actually kicking back to Will or Sam on base downs, because he does move really, really well. And with Perkins, my favorite thing about Perkins is his pursuit and his effort. His pursuit and his effort puts him in a lot of positions to make plays. And he's kind of smaller, but he's got good traits. I like Perkins a lot. Perkins in the 2nd round would be legit. You want Talona Hafuanga? Probably just destroyed his name. His aunt is my neighbor. Well, if we draft him, I'm going to be looking at you, Niner guy, to help get him on the live. So deal. You better tell his auntie that you got to go live with the SF Niners. Paulson Adebo. So if you want to, so there's this tape that exists of Paulson Adebo going against Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis is currently on the Buffalo Bills. He used to be a UCF wide receiver. I like Gabe Davis a lot. I liked Gabe Davis coming out of UCF. He was a guy that he was always targeting in my fantasy leagues as a late round rookie. I like Gabe Davis a lot. What he did to Paulson Adebo, ooh. Oh, sorry, Paulson. He got torched by Gabe Davis, like embarrassed. Like he got embarrassed by Gabe Davis. I went back and I watched his tape again. I watched other plays. At cornerback, he doesn't impress me a ton. He has some traits. You like that. You like his athletic ability. But the thing that I did like about Paulson Adebo is that they lined him up at will linebacker on occasion. And he actually did pretty well. So that wrinkle I liked. I liked seeing him play Will and do well from Will. But I don't know. He's going to be a flyer, maybe 5th, 4th, 6th. I don't know. I haven't watched enough. I watched enough tape to know that he can get burnt like a crisp. I've watched enough of that. I've watched enough to see some of his versatility. I've watched enough to see that he has traits. He has potential. So he's just not going to be a high draft pick, in my opinion. I already talked about Lance quite a bit, so I don't know if I want to rehash that. I'll give you the cliff notes. I like Lance a lot. He fits what we do. If he's the pick at 3, we still celebrate. Anyone but Mac. So I like Lance a lot. Sir Lance a lot. I like this question. what's my long-term goal with this page? So honestly, the goal that I started when I started all of this and started this journey was, over 3 years ago. Yeah, over 3 years ago, I started doing the page. And the main goal was to get credentialed. So, and credentialed by the 49ers. It's been a dream of mine for the better part of a decade. Just to be able to be in that environment. I think you guys can see I'm just a football nerd. So if I can be in that environment, that's what I want to be in. I don't care if it's coaching. I don't care if it's media. I don't care if it's scouting. I don't care whatever. I just want to be around it. I just want to be around football. I want to be around these players. I feel like I can relate to these players. I feel like I know what they go through. Of course, I've never played at their level or done any of that. But it's just always been my passion. It's always been my passion. Ever since I stopped playing, it's just I didn't know what to do. I stopped playing, and you hear the stories about the athletes when they stop playing football. You're just like, they're like, what do I do? All I've been doing is training for football. All I've been doing has been working out 2 times a day, then going to practice and doing football. What do I do when it's done? And, my football career didn't go how I wanted it to. I was a knucklehead. Grades. I'll just say that. Grades, people. If you are a young high school kid and you have aspirations of being a football player, grades. Grades. Turn in your work. Do everything on time. Study for your tests. Do it. Because that, believe it or not, can be the difference in you going to somewhere you want to be versus settling with somewhere else. So, grades. Always grades. But, football ended for me. I didn't know what to do with it. I really had no idea what to do with it. So I took all the knowledge that I had gained over the years of watching tape, watching practice, watching rep after rep after rep, studying my own tape, rep after rep after rep for years. And I was like, what do I do with this? So I found myself in the Bleacher Report comment section. Found myself in the Bleacher Report comment section, commenting on everything draft related, realizing I know more about football than these people who are getting paid to write about it. But then that was the start. I was like, how do I leverage this into something else? How do I leverage this into anything? And big shout out to 49er Edits on Instagram, OG of OGs, the real OG, triple OG, quadruple OG, 49er Edits on Instagram. When I stumbled onto his page, I saw how much engagement he got, how many followers he had, and the stuff he was talking about. And I was like, all right. I was like, I see the path. I was like, I see a path forward for me to be able to just talk about football and be a football nerd. Shout out 49er Edits. The OG of all OGs deserves way more credit than he gets. So Edits, it was just, following him. That was the inspiration. It was just following him. Watching how he ran his account. Watching that stuff. And that's how I started the journey. I wish I started it years earlier. I wish I started it years and years earlier. This account would be at 200K by now. But shout out Edits, man. Edits showed me what was possible. He showed what was possible. And I came from a social media marketing background. I did social media marketing. Like, that was my job. So for me, it was like, oh, you can start an Instagram account? Like, the hell? And that's what I did. So I took all the knowledge that I learned from football, all the knowledge I learned from going to the Academy of Art University doing multimedia communications. I learned everything from my job in social media marketing. And it's wild because it's all culminated into this. It all fits right into this. And so the goal now is to get credentialed. Yeah, 49er Edits is the OGIG page. So the goal, the original question is, what's your long-term goal? The whole goal was to get credentialed by the 49ers. I feel like I'm this close. Like you can see right here, see this? And for you guys on IG, can I do it both at the same time? So that and this. This looks weird. IG has no idea what I'm talking about. Like, they don't see my other hand. YouTube sees both my hands. They're like, what the hell is this guy doing? That's my Senior Bowl credential. So, I mean, you guys, if you guys saw me live at the Senior Bowl, man, at the end of that first day, dude, I broke down in tears. Like, I was just coming on live to like say like thanks to everyone for because again, like without your guys' support, like there's no way I end up at the Senior Bowl. There's no way I end up on the field as credentialed media at the Senior Bowl without you guys. So I was just coming on to say thanks. And I was like a baby. I could not stop crying because like I said, it's been a journey, man. It's been a crazy ass journey. And to come to a place where the Senior Bowl was a bucket list thing, like just going to the Senior Bowl. I just wanted to go as a fan in the stands. That was a bucket list item. So the fact that I was walking around, I passed John Lynch probably 4 times. I stared Adam Peters straight in the face. I watched the whole 49ers scouting crew kind of huddle up and hang out. And I'm just walking by them, not paying 2 cents to me, like I belong there. Like, it was so surreal. It was so unbelievably surreal to be in that situation, to be there, to be around those guys and not feel like I was out of place. Like, that was the craziest thing. It's like I felt like I belonged there. I was like, man, I belong here. Like, this is where I'm meant to be. Like, I'm meant to be around this stuff. Like, this is where my passion lies. Like, this is what it's about. So I got credentialed to the Senior Bowl. Huge. Next step, and this was the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal was to get credentialed to go to 49ers games. I haven't applied yet. I'm taking my time. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to rush it. I don't want to do any of that. I'm just taking my time because I want to be credentialed by the 49ers, man. I would absolutely. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. I mean, you know, when you set those ultimate goals that you really don't think are attainable, like that's that. Like, so that if I get to that goal of getting credentialed by the 49ers as my ultimate goal, and I have to come up with a new goal, like that to me is just mind-boggling. All right, since we're on some real stuff, you got me in my feelings. I'll answer this question. I haven't answered this question yet, but I get it a lot. Do I have a day job? Respect the hustle. I appreciate that. I did have a day job. I was a project manager in the event industry. I was elevated to, the executive level about a year before COVID hit. And everything was going great, man. Dude, buzzing. Like, killing it as a PM, then made the transition upstairs, killing it upstairs. It was just great. Everything was going great, man. And then COVID hit. So when COVID hit, I was actually at a trade show. I was at a trade show the day they shut everything down. So like I was so conflicted going to the trade show. Like I remember those feelings, like traveling and going and do that stuff. And I was like, man, like, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I'm going to go, because you didn't know what COVID was at the time. I went anyways because that's just what I do. It's my job. I committed to being there. I said, okay, I'll be there. Do the show. Show goes up. And then that's when the COVID stuff really start kicking up. And they had to shut the show down early. Packed up, got out of there. And then, so that was in March, right? So made it till August, man. I made it till August. But again, keep in mind, our entire industry came to a halt. It's just now, right now, it's just now picking up. The trade show and event industry is just now picking up. So unfortunately, I held on as long as I could. We were dead in the water. Trade shows were dead. They're like, what am I supposed to do? There's no gatherings. There's no public meetings. That's what trade shows are. So what we're selling like virtual events, like sick. So unfortunately, August comes around and I was let go. And honestly, I had to make a decision. And I took my time with it and I balanced everything. But it wasn't until January that I decided this is going to be my full-time thing. So you guys see me going live during the day. You see me always posting. That's because this is my thing now. I've realized that I think that I have a path forward here. I feel like I've unlocked something. And I feel like I have the formula to move forward. So bless my wife, bless my family for allowing me to pursue this. Because if it wasn't for COVID, if it wasn't for that situation, it wouldn't have put me in a position to follow my dreams and to pursue them. Because this has always been my dream. My dream wasn't working in the trade show industry. like being a project manager and sales in the trade show industry is a nightmare. You're literally just managing mistakes constantly. So it was a disaster, but I was good at it. That was the problem. I was good at my job. But this COVID and everything, dude, blessing in disguise. Absolute blessing in disguise, dude. The fact that I can do this every day and focus only on this and live out my passion. Like, this is what I want to do. So I'm doing it right now. Like this is work. It's 9:00 at night. I'm just talking with you guys. We're talking about football. We're doing that, but this benefits my account. And that's wild to me. That's just wild to me because this is just fun. This is just my passion. Do this stuff all the time. So the fact now that I can focus on this and continue to build this. Like, we're not even close. This is just the beginning. The plans that I have for this page, where this thing is going to go, how everything is going to be built off of this. I have big plans. So I'm really excited. So that's the first time any of you guys have heard that story. It's the first time you guys, because I get asked it a lot, because you guys see me on during the day. You're like, oh, do you have a job? Do you have a day job? This is my job, man. This is my job. I have turned this into my job. I'm blessed to be able to say that. I never thought this would be anything that would be possible. So I'm just going to keep going. I'm not going to stop. I'm absolutely not going to stop. I've come too far. I'm invested, man. I am invested in this. So all the drama, all the crap, I don't care. I don't care. I'm building something here. So we're pushing forward. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep building. Where this leads me, who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? But if I can get that credential, dude, if I can get that Niner credential, you're going to see more tears from this account. You're going to see me like on the field, just like, well, thank you guys. Thank you so much for the support. So, hey, SF Diners is coming. All of it's coming. You know, we're pushing, bro. We're working. Like this is work. It doesn't feel like work, but we're working. So I can't wait, man. I can't wait because I'm getting used to this live stuff. I believe it or not, I have social anxiety. I don't like talking. I'm a quiet, laid back dude. But you get talking about football, you open me right up. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this takes me. And again, I see you guys' comments, man. And seeing your guys' comments it means a lot. I'm trying to hold it back a little bit. Yeah, dude, when I do my interviews with these players, I'm hyped. I'm just like, how am I talking to these guys? How are they talking to me right now? Like, why are they answering my questions? Like, this is crazy. Like, so again, this page, the opportunities that it's brought me, it would be silly of me to not go all in. It would be so silly of me to not go all in. So again, at the time, you know, dude, I had a great job. I had a fantastic job, and I was good at what I did. Really, really good at what I did. But I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It's too much stress, too many hours, too many projects. Didn't like it. It was burning me out. COVID hits, lose my job. And of course, that's hella scary. I've never lost my job before, dude. I've never lost my job before. I've never been fired. So that was really scary. It was really scary. But, you know, after that wore off, dude, we're full steam ahead. Choo choo. We're going. We're going. We don't care. We're pushing forward. We're going to keep building. We're going to keep grinding. Hopefully we get that Niner credential. You know, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not sure that there's ever really been like a social platform to get credentialed. We'll see. And absolutely, it was a blessing in disguise. My wife was just telling me today. She's like, man, you losing your job was kind of a blessing in disguise. God. I was like, hell yeah, it was. Because I get to do what I love. I'm happier. Dude, I used to commute every single day it was hour 25 minutes each way, sitting in Bay Area traffic every day. That's no life to live. No life to live. So, dude, just blessed. Just blessed that I can do this. Just blessed that we're building something here. We're building something here. Like this is just like this stuff is ground floor. Like we're nowhere near where we want to be. So, again, my guy Nolan, you've been here day one. So, you know the vibes. Oh, we got some real ones. He said, we still remember you naming the whale outside your office. Joe Whaley? Yep. We remember Joe Whaley. Yep. So, if you guys don't know, my office was in Alameda. So, right out my window, I had a beautiful view of this old World War II ship because they stored some of their old ships there. And in between that area, there's a waterway or whatever. And for an entire week, a whale would swim in there and do all kinds of stuff. So I don't know. We just decided we got to name this thing. So we put up, I let you guys pick a bunch of names. We put them up to votes. The winner was Joe Whaley. Joe Whaley won. That's funny, dude. I remember that. Oh, man. Everyone has social anxiety. I usually use sports to get out of every awkward situation. That's so funny, dude. Like, if I've run into certain situations where I'm like talking with someone and I'm like, yeah, you like football, you like sports, you like anything. And they're like, not really. I'm like, what do we talk about? Just because obviously you see what I do like all the time. I just talk about football and sports and all that stuff. Used to have social anxiety. It really helps if you get a job you're forced to talk a lot, like a dude. So that was my job. I was a project manager, client facing project manager. I worked on really big museum projects, all that kind of stuff. That's a win. Yeah, dude, it put me in a lot of positions to have to force me outside my comfort zone. Doing this, talking to you guys, that's outside of my comfort zone. But doing it more and more and more often, it really helps. Really helps. But yeah, totally. And that quote, "I hate the internet," is a real quote. I said that. I absolutely said that. I won't back down from it. I don't remember why I said it, but I absolutely came out of my mouth. Good times. Yeah, social anxiety hitting like 500 views on YouTube. Wild, man. It's just wild. It's wild how the world works. Built a great community. I appreciate that, man. That's always been something that I wanted. Always been something that I wanted when I started this page, is like a positive community. Just people who like the 49ers and want to talk sports. But that's enough about me. I appreciate you guys listening, though. So you guys got the first taste of all in Brad. Hell yeah. Shout out to anyone who has to deal with social anxiety. That shit's annoying. It's annoying for no reason. Like, why does it even exist? Why? Have I ever linked up with Nothing But Niners? I have not. Yes. Nolan knows. Yeah, sourdough Brad, let's go. So it is what it is. Do I play Madden? I play Madden on Xbox. I just hate Madden, man. Go get it, Moods. Hey, you're built for that. So, yes, Alec, you missed the social anxiety talk. We're still talking about it a little bit. But Moody, you're built for that. You're about to kill that. So, it's going to be interesting. It's interesting how the world works. Interesting how everything works out. Oh, damn, we're almost at 2 hours. Let's go. Another social anxiety. Alec, let's go. We live through the internet as extroverts. In reality, we are introverts. We live through the internet as extroverts, but we're truly introverts. So, oh man, I appreciate that, Dark Knight. That means a lot. It means a lot. All right, I've been on this thing for a minute. It's probably time, after my own personal story, might be time to go hang out with the missus. So I appreciate all the comments, man. Again, you guys who were hanging around, you heard some news, personal news that I haven't shared with anyone yet. So, Bilo, my guy, appreciate you. So I think I'll end it there. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be talking, guess what? More Niners, more draft, all that good stuff. I really need to start focusing on day three guys. I really need to. I got the specific day 3 guys, but I need to start doing all the day 3 guys. All that crap. So appreciate you guys. Damn, young hitter's still on here. We see you. You guys are wild. But I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna tap out tonight. Be back tomorrow. Again, draft show. We're going to be live for the draft. We are going to be live for the draft. And again, I would appreciate if you came through, because every view, every like, every sub, all matters. So I appreciate you guys as always. We will be back tomorrow. Lots of love in here tonight. I love it. I love this. The vibes. We like to, harness good vibes and then keep them going. So let's keep that rolling into the draft. Hopefully when we get to the draft, we are talking about Justin Fields or Trey Lance to the 49ers. Dude, I've been trying to start a podcast for a month. I don't even want to talk about that. It's going to bring the vibes down. We'll save that story for another day. But hopefully that's on the to-do list. We'll get there. Again, thank you guys. Good vibes only. We'll be back tomorrow. Appreciate y'all.